Ant-Man. So Hank Pym is a genius, one of the founders of the Avengers, the creator of the Pym particles, and the father of the villainous AI Ultron. He has acted under many different identities, such as Ant-Man, Giant Man, Goliath, and Yellow Jacket. He is also Earth's Scientist Supreme, as decreed by eternity. Hank Pym is a scientific genius and created the Pym particles, which enables mass to be shunted or gained from an alternate dimension, and has the ability to change its size or the size of other objects. When acting as Ant-Man or Yellow Jacket, Pym had the strength of a man who engages in intensive regular exercise. When he shrank, he retained his strength. It was all just condensed into the size of an ant, making it feel like a bullet. Hank is able to shrink at will and can also mentally generate Pym particles, so he can mentally change the size of other people or objects. He can also shrink to sub-microscopic sizes in order to enter countless different subatomic universes. As Giant Man or Goliath, his strength varied depending on his height. At just 10 feet tall, Pym was able to lift about half a ton, but when he grew up to 100 feet tall, which is considered his maximum height, he can lift up to 100 tons. As Ant-Man, Hank constructed a cybernetic helmet that allowed him to communicate with insects, like ants. He can't control ants in the traditional sense, but when he asks, they are very willing to help. Ant-Man wears a suit made of unstable molecules, which allows it to change size when he did, and was much more resistant to damage. He also has shrunk a variety of weapons to microscopic sizes, allowing him to carry all of them in his pockets, and then restore them to the original size at will. Hank created hydraulic boots that could launch him short distances and allow him to land softly. He also created an unbreakable nylon rope, which he uses to lasso opponents and toss them around. Hank is also trained in combat and is incredibly proficient at judo. In the other corner we have Atom. Ray Palmer was the second to take up the name The Atom, and was one of the many Silver Age reboots of Golden Age characters to have a more sci-fi background. With his incredible genius and dwarf star matter-powered ability to shrink, the Atom is one of the greatest heroes in the DC universe. The Atom possesses the power to alter his size down to the subatomic level while retaining his natural strength. This is accomplished by using the remnants of a white dwarf star made into a belt buckle worn with his costume. Originally, he had to manipulate the abilities via the belt, but now he's able to control it with his brainwaves. The Atom is one of the few heroes in the DC universe that has 100% control over his body on the molecular level, thus making him exceptionally more powerful than he's often portrayed. And he's really only limited by the application of his powers. Ray can reduce his mass to be light enough to glide through the air, or increase the density of his fist to be able to punch through concrete. He's able to shrink down to the subatomic levels, and can even travel on photon signals through fiber optic cables. The Atom is able to travel into Superman's bloodstream and manually rearrange his molecules in order to create kryptonite. He's also diffused the Black Lantern's atomic punch, and then resized while still inside of him, ripping the Black Lantern apart on the way out. Ray has also shown the ability to shrink others down when the need arises. However, he doesn't do this very often because after an hour, the person who is shrunk would explode. So who wins this battle? Let me tell you, out of all the Who Wins videos I've done so far, this one has definitely been the hardest. I think I've spent at least a week researching and contemplating who I think is going to win this fight. And I think I finally got my answer. But first, as always, let's break it down. Now these two are very similar both in power, but also in intellect. Hank is smarter, but Ray is still a verifiable genius. So in my opinion, the best way to see who wins, the best way to answer the question, is to see who can shrink smaller. As his name implies, Atom can shrink down to the size of an atom, but he can also go subatomic, shrinking down to the size of an electron, or really however small he needs to be. But here's the problem. So can Ant-Man. Hank has gone subatomic before, and has gotten so small that he can travel into different planes of existence, like the microverse. So if they can both go subatomic, then how do we distinguish the winner? Hank is able to mentally generate pin particles, so that allows him to mentally change the size of other people or objects. Hank is also capable of turning into Giant Man. This means he can go up to 100 feet tall and lift around 100 tons. Like the name implies, Ant-Man also has the ability to communicate with ants and other insects. On the other hand, Atom has 100% control of his molecular structure, which makes him incredibly powerful. Ray can also shrink other people down too, although they explode after a while. The way I see it, ants won't have a huge part to play in this battle. Ray can always grow larger and squash the insects, or just turn so small that the ants won't be able to hurt him. I don't think that either of them will be able to force the other person to grow or shrink either, because Ray has 100% control over his own body, and Hank can instantly change sizes at will. So let's say that they both stay down at the atomic or subatomic level, and hash their fight out down there. Now Hank has several different kinds of weapons on him, and is proficient at judo, but in my opinion, this can't really compare Ray's powers. I know I keep on coming back to this, but it's a big deal, and it's a determining factor in this fight. Ray has 100% control over his body, which means that he can increase his density to really an unknown limit. And while Ant-Man is more powerful in ant form because of all his strength is condensed over a short area, this can't compare with the ability to increase your density and therefore your strength to unknown limits. Also, the way I see it, having the option and the ability to turn into Giant Man is a huge disadvantage in this fight. Because while they're both subatomic, neither of them are going to be able to get inside each other and tamper around, because subatomic is about as small as they can go. However, if Hank ever decides that he's going to take this fight big and turn into Giant Man, all Ray has to do is stay small, get inside his brain, heart, or organs, and just grow big. Then the fight is done for sure. So the way I see it, Atom has the ability to take this fight in the subatomic realm. He can definitely win if he faces off against Giant Man. The Atom wins. But what do y'all think? Sound off in the comments down below and let me know who you think wins this battle. Also, and I have an announcement to make. I am starting a second channel. I am a huge fan of movies, and I'm very passionate about them, and I enjoy talking about them. So that's basically what this channel is going to be. It's just going to be a movie review channel, and you'll get to hear my thoughts on all the new movies coming out, like Doctor Strange, Moana, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and Rogue One. So the link is down in the description down below, so be sure